Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a correction that needs to be made across the RP space. It's very well distributed idea that when ladies put makeup on and wear all this costume type stuff to give the appearance of youth, which is very, very closely associated with beauty. Guys like my boy Andrew Wilson, much love to you, sir. You're doing God's work out there. Stay strong, keep at it. And that boy Myron Gaines, that's not his real name, but it is what it is. Shout out to you, Myron. You're doing God's work too. Keep at it. Stay strong, brother. Much love. Of everyone that I've seen, it's those two guys, quite frankly, by far, who I've seen the most of saying to these ladies to their face, you know, you don't put makeup on and all this fake shit so that you can just do it for you. And they'll have these panel shows on the whatever podcast and on Fresh and Fit where these chicks will just get dragged and embarrassed trying to tell people, oh yeah, no, I put all this on for me. We do this, we us girls, you know, girl power and shit, we do this for ourselves. We're not doing this for men. And Andrew masterfully will pick them apart just by asking some simple questions. And the same with Myron. Wonderfully. Just tears them down. Asking them real simple shit like, well, if that's true, then why don't you just put makeup on when you stay at home in your sweats and PJs or whatever the fuck, right? And of course, these chicks look ridiculous because they don't just put makeup on and sit around the house doing nothing. So there's a timing issue that's going on here. And they'll put this makeup on in time to go out and present themselves to men. And so it seems to be fairly obvious on the face of the situation that these women are putting on makeup so that they can display and advertise themselves to men. And some fake ass shit where they are attempting to appear younger and more beautiful than they actually are. And, quite frankly, there's a shit ton of truth to that. That they're, in that respect, they're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for the men. But just as many other things in life, there's levels to the shit, fellas. And I hate to break it to you, but if you scratch a little bit more at that itch and you're able to make it below the surface level thinking that's taking place here with this back and forth and these conversations, what you'll find is another level of truth. This is one of those situations where it's a yes and, not a either or. And so, yes, they are putting on this makeup and fake shit to present themselves as something that they're not. But they're actually telling you the truth. When they say, oh, I'm doing this for me, they're telling you the truth. And you would think, oh, well, yeah, I mean, they're doing it for them because they're trying to catch a man. Yes. And what's actually taking place is a little bit darker than just that. Why? What is actually happening and why? So as any good investigator would know, there's a whole bunch of questions here that are just the basics that you're going to want to ask and find some simple answers to that all correlate and make sense, that line up and add up. And if there's anything that looks like bullshit, well, that would warrant additional questioning. So think of it like this. There's a woman who wrote a book a long time ago about how women manipulate men. She's this German lady who's from Argentina. Esther Villar. She wrote a couple books. One of them is called The Polygamous Sex. She's not talking about men. One of them is called The Manipulated Man, and that one's getting passed around the internet a shitload lately, and good. Because you all would do yourselves a huge favor if you were actually to take a little time and read that book. And what you might find is a very interesting passage where this lady, Esther Villar, quite frankly puts it that these women are attempting to portray themselves as younger than they are, not only to increase their sexual attractiveness, but because the image of youth is going to mechanically trigger your desire, your instinct, your God-programmed software to want to protect and take care of a child. So just like in the legal system where a woman can commit a crime and then go in front of a courtroom and a judge and a jury and say some wild ass crazy shit like, oh, I didn't know, I'm just a dumb girl. It's a very similar dynamic that's taking place. The makeup and the false youth is like putting the key into an ignition and turning it. When you put the key in the ignition, it disables some safety mechanisms. And as you turn the key in the barrel of the ignition, it allows the electrical system to make some contacts that then allow the flow of the electricity to make a circuit. And when that circuit is completed, it'll activate your starter, which will turn over the crank to your engine, in addition to activating your fuel pump. Among other things. And what happens is a mechanical operation that starts your engine. And that's exactly what's happening in your mind. Whether or not you realize it doesn't make a difference. The vast majority of men are good men, whether you want to admit it or not. There is almost no bad men out there. And trust me, I've looked. I know thousands upon thousands of these men. I've done business in the darkest corners of the darkest cities and perhaps the darkest country in the world with these people that you might describe as bad guys. And you know what I've found? That's not what they are at all. True bad guys are fucking unicorns. They almost don't exist. Even the men that you may think are bad guys are very, very likely to let women and children walk. Now, of course, these same people are not fucking morons. So they will make risk calculations just like anyone else would. They'll make return on investment calculations just like anyone else would. And for the most part, these women and children in question don't fall on the bad side of those equations because they're insignificant. Letting them walk, for the most part, is inconsequential. And so the fact that they will allow these women and children to walk almost always, well, that there tells you that even these men that you may think on the surface look like bad men, they don't just sleep at night like you might think. They have a conscience. There's a consciousness there that knows right from wrong. And the vast majority of these men, they don't just see right and wrong, but there's a vibration and a frequency that they are highly tuned into, where they can tell the difference between good and evil. Now, of course, there is a very, very small percentage of these men that are hyper familiar with the frequency of evil. And I'm here to tell you, even those men, given the opportunity, they'll take the opportunity to allow evil to take the day off. What does that mean? Well, when these women are putting makeup on and all this fake shit to try to portray themselves as younger, there's other things that are associated with that, like innocence. And that's hyper dangerous to your calculating functions when you deal with these women. And they know that. And that's the rub. It's not just about sex and sexual attraction and getting a man. They want a father-slave simultaneously, father and slave. They don't want to be taken seriously. They don't want a man to treat them equally. They don't want any of that whatsoever. What they want is a man to become their father and feel the responsibility to take care of them. That's why they love going on these panel shows and talking about how important it is for a man to be a provider, while at the same time not wanting to give any respect or submission to any of these men that potentially may be providing for them. That's where the slave dynamic comes in. They want you to feel mechanically in your head and bodily functions that they are young and innocent. Just a dumb girl that needs to be taken care of. And the dark part of it is they are doing what they know is the most effective strategy to enslave you. It really is one of those situations where you have to just respect your enemy because of the masterful work that's being done. Even though it's being perpetrated against you, it's kind of like in a football game when your opponent team just makes a beautiful play where they fake you out super hard one way and get everybody to bite on the fake, and then they make the play go the other direction and they just embarrass the fuck out of your whole team, and you're like, damn, that was a good one. It's exactly what it is. It's the same as when somebody hits you with a fake up high and then goes down low. It comes back up right on the fucking chin, rings your neck, and that's a wrap. And you're like, damn, that was nice. Don't take it personal, fellas. Respect your enemy. Now, the disclaimer, of course, is not all women are your enemy. So don't be mad. Don't be resentful. Don't get too upset about it. That's not the point. But don't go out and pretend that they're just trying to get sex. They are not. They're trying to get a father slave. Watch your back. Nothing but love. Have a nice day.